everybody. This is Javier, also known as the Headless ASM Artist Without a Head. It's spooky season, boys and girls. It is time for vampires, ghouls. The Headless Horseman is coming out tonight, and I figured to stay with the times and to stay with the spooky season, being that I am the Headless ASM Artist, it's my time to shine. I figured I'd read the very famous Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. I will be trying to read it in a softer spoken voice this time, not in a whisper, as I feel like that'll give it a better, creepier edge. Maybe, we'll see. I don't know. I've always kind of wanted to do voice acting, and I figured this, I don't know, could kind of reading stuff in different kind of like characters kind of makes me think that I could do it. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna stop whispering, and I'm gonna start reading Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books secrets of sorrow, sorrow for the least Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain wrestling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entering in chance at the chamber door, some late visitor entering in trance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, and I was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there was spoken was the whispered word, 'Lenore.' This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, 'Lenore.' Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what threat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a scraggly raven from the saintly days of yore. Not the least absence made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien and lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, bulging at my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern doctrine of the constance I wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim, and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little cavily bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living being ever yet was blessed with seeing a bird above his chamber door, bird appeased upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on this placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, Other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, Doubtless, said I. What is utters its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, from unmerciful disaster, followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the degrees of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled and cushioned seat in front of the bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself into linking, fancy into fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, Nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burnt into my bosom's core. This and more I sat driving, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamp-lit glated o'er, but whose velvet lining with the lamp-light grated o'er, she shall pass, nevermore. Then, methought, the air grew denser, perfumed and an unseen censer, swung by Sephrim with footfalls tinkling to the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he has sent thee, respite and neft from the memories of Lenore. Gaff, O quaff, and kind Nathaf, and forgot this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether temper set or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, and this desert land enchanting, on this home by honor haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm and gild? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends upon us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul, if sorrow laden, if within the distance Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden from the angels named Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. Be that word our sight of peering bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarted, give thee back into the tempest of the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of thy lie soul hath spoken. Leave thy loneliness unbroken. Quit thy bust above my door. take thy beak from my heart, and die from out my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still and sitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him screaming throws his shadows on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. That is one of my favorite poems. It's just so fun to get all creepy and down in the dark with it. It's interesting to see how much it can change. Every time you read it, something different kind of speaks out to you. There are some words I obviously botched. I don't know, some of the words I've never even really seen before or outside of this poem. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to see those or pronounce those right, but usually they're all supposed to rhyme, so you can usually do that pretty well. I personally really love this season. Fall is one of my favorite times of year. Weather starts cooling down, leaves start falling, Halloween, Thanksgiving, two of the many great holidays that we celebrate. Fall then leads into winter, which, Christmas time brings many joy. Now, it is spooky season, so I'm going to leave you with one last final reward. I am the headless ASM artist. Was I ever real before? Or was I just taking you out of my door? Was I reeling you in with my fancy and thought? Or was I actually there, trying to be taught? Nothing I say now makes any sense. All that we're doing is running an offense. Rhyming and alliteration are fun things to use. Every poem doesn't need to be a muse. Every now and again you can just say random thoughts that creep into your head while you lay it down in your nice, cool bed. As you lay down tonight to rest in your sleep, be sure to know that you can count your sheep. God bless to all, and to all a very happy night.